Have you ever had a dream so big it felt so impossible? That's exactly how our 24 travel adventure started. Just a crazy idea in our heads. But somehow this year, we turned that dream into reality. As a matter of fact, beyond our reality. We went to 12 countries, visited 26 cities, located in 4 continents. The question is, how did we do it? And what did we learn along the way? Hello, I'm Carl, and thank you, my esteemed viewer, for watching our channel through the years of it being in existence. So this is going to be our year in review 24 as far as our travels are concerned. Lots of things, exciting things that happened and beyond our imagination and beyond everything that we've ever hoped for. But who's complaining, right? We didn't get there on our own. We had help from circumstances, from getting out of our comfort zones, as well as believing that when we put our minds and hearts into something, things actually begin to happen. So, how did we start our year? Gosh, I was like trying to do an outline of how I'm gonna make this as interesting as possible. And I came up with like 3 big main categories. One of them is how it all began, the dream and our plan, right? And our process of making that dream happen. And third, lessons learned. Would we do things differently if given another opportunity for 25? A lot of things happen just once. I am a firm believer that you can never replicate experiences. That is the reason why when you're put in a situation where you are given the chance to live an experience, you just, do the best that you can to ensure that you take advantage of every opportunity, and every living moment is spent literally understanding your surroundings, the people around you, how you're feeling at that moment, and the emotions that you'll carry with you for eternity. So it started as an initial spark of idea, right? Perhaps reflecting back to the Paris Olympics, because I've always wanted to go to the Paris Olympics, and I think if you've seen some of the videos that I've published last year, that has been a lifelong dream for me, not to be an athlete because I'm not an athlete, but to have the experience of going to the Olympics. And after the Tokyo Olympics, it became sort of the impetus. It was that spark that triggered my desire to drag my husband with me into this crazy idea, potentially going to the Olympics and watching and experiencing and being able to tell what others have felt who have been there. And it was epic, to say the least, and I'm not going to go elaborate on that because you can watch the videos last year and I can reference that in the description. And when we set our goals, a lot of people map out their destinations, but for us we did not, because when I said circumstances helped us, I was in Press Your Luck, season 5 episode 2. And so that sort of became a helper for us to be able to afford some of the things that we've done, right? And another opportune moment happened. It was in August of 23. In the midst of me scrolling through social media, and again, I'm an avid traveler, I read a post from Air Tahiti, and I also mentioned that in one of the videos in the past. But as a summary, I found this promo from Air Tahiti offering 200 people around the world 4 round-trip airfare tickets. Round-trip airfare tickets to 4 countries where Air Tahiti flies. But the thing is, it's first come, first served. And knowing that this is a worldwide competition, you gotta call. So we called for hours and hours. And with due diligence, I found another post of a person from I think the East Coast who called a number in New Zealand because no one can get through the LA numbers. And she said that she got to round-trip tickets. And so I tried that. And lo and behold, after 30 minutes of dialing that number, after being already on the line for maybe an hour or so, I got through and we got 3 round-trip tickets. So we were able to take my mother-in-law with us. She was also in the part of the show as a supporter for me with my husband in Press Your Luck. So it was sort of a blessing, and really one of the affirmations that whatever we were supposed to do for 24 were meant to happen. And because of that, we were able to go to Tahiti, to Japan, to New Zealand, and to Paris. So that was definitely bonus times 100 times, or 100%, or 100 times over. I don't even know. I'm just babbling at this point. But we also had challenges. It's not just about, fun times and amazing emotional experience, right? We had initial doubts. Number 1, of course, is money, because we're not rich. We're working people, working class people. Time, right? The logistics, we had all these grand plans, but how exactly are we going to be able to execute? And health concerns, right? This is like post-COVID still. And although we didn't have any trepidations that another pandemic will happen again, it's always been at the back of our minds, and also our own health. nothing is guaranteed, and today is the only day that's really guaranteed in life. So that's one of the things too that we had to grapple with. And the ultimate thing that I think made a difference for us was the encouragement. We had to highlight the excitement of taking the first step, booking the flights. And even when we won the Air Tahiti trips, it's also first come, first serve to book. So my gosh, I was so diligent in making sure that I called every single week, sometimes 2 times a week, to see if flights are available for the destination that we wanted to go to. But it came to fruition, and with diligence and hard work, lots of early mornings, that's for sure, and befriending the agents on the call, on the line, it really helped. Being nice and kind really helps. So, and we just saw the plans taking shape, and that's when we realized that this is really happening, right? So how did we make the dream happen? So this is our process. As far as logistics are concerned, choosing the destination was key, all right? So we had to schedule that between my work schedule as well as my husband's school schedule, because he's going to graduate school. This is his last semester, actually, 25. But at the time, he was at the thick of it. So we had to plan pretty smartly so that we're not too stressed out, right? So I'm glad because I was able to buy my vacation time in advance at work. Although I have enough vacation hours to spend, I had to make sure that I had more than enough. So I kind of advanced my vacation. So when companies do that, they deduct your pre-planned vacation from your paycheck, but of course it gets paid back to you, right? So that's how that works. And how we prioritized the destination really had to depend on the weather. So in January, of course, because it's winter in the west coast of the United States and the east coast, and predominantly the entire US, it's not hot in Hawaii. So we decided that we wanted to go to Hawaii for January as part of the winnings that I received from Press Your Luck. Because part of the winnings is 40 nights at the Ritz-Carlton around the world, anywhere, right? And so we did that. And then we just went from there. So after that, we went to Mexico. And then I've always wanted to attend the World Figure Skating Championships. And we were able to do that in Montreal in March. So not as cold anymore, but it was still freezing and there was still snow, but it was an amazing experience. And then in April, we went to Japan, very temperate in weather. And we had a layover in Tahiti as part of that. And in May, we decided that we wanted to go to Georgetown in Washington, D.C. It was a perfect time to go. And in June, we went back to Tahiti to spend my birthday there with a few of our friends. July was when we went to the Paris Olympics. But en route, we went to Vienna, and we had a disaster. I don't say disastrous, but in one of the videos, I featured our missed flight from Frankfurt, Germany to Vienna that delayed us for 1 night. But everything worked out. Everything happens for a reason. It was still a nice Vienna trip for sure. And then Paris Olympics was from the end of July to the beginning of August. And again, please just watch the videos. It was just an amazing experience. And then in September, we decided that August to September, we're gonna finish off the Ritz-Carlton stays. And we went to Cabo, San Lucas in Mexico, and stayed at the Zadún Ritz-Carlton Reserve, at the Zadún Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Mexico, in Cabo, San Lucas. And end of October was when we went to New Zealand. End of November was when we took our final trip to Europe. We went back to Paris, but it was packed, and as you probably have seen it in the videos, or if you have not, please feel free to watch our Parisian experience, because we went to Brussels for a day, Normandy, France for a day, 2 days in Denmark with a side trip to Sweden and the northern part of Sweden before we headed back to Paris and returned to LA to spend Christmas in LA. So that was our 24. So there was really a lot of reflection as far as the process of traveling is concerned. We really stretched our comfort zones. Having my mother-in-law with us was also fun. She got to see the sights and sounds of where we've been, of where we went to, and it really required a lot of energy, a lot of patience, and a lot of, I guess, forgiveness, because not everything's going to be perfect. We had a lot of challenges, but these are good challenges. At the end of the day, we're healthy, we're alive, we were not sick. So regardless of what those challenges were, they were still part of our journey, and they made our trip really unforgettable. And on top of that, exploring places where tourists normally don't go to, like the hidden gems in Paris. We did the galleries, the small parks and venues that we normally skip on trips like that, because we wanted to go for the big things, right? Going to Copenhagen, which is a big city, but going to Kronborg Castle by a tour bus, onto a ferry to Lund, Sweden, and Malmo, Sweden. These are the things that we normally would not have done. And we did that because we were already in Europe, so might as well go there and spare us the long travel from the western coast of the United States and from California to Europe. And the connections that we've made to people. We've met people who are also on a similar journey, right? And great people who we're still in connection with as a result. So that's definitely worthwhile and absolutely a blessing to be given an opportunity like that. As far as lessons learned, what we do differently, gosh, time management, maybe. I think we knew, especially for the trip to Paris and Denmark and Sweden in November of last year, we knew that it was going to be very tight. But we warned ourselves. I warned my husband that, this is going to be tight. It will require a lot of patience and really it will be exhausting, but are we ready for this? Knowing that it's not going to be perfect and, we will reach certain thresholds, but having that expectation, I think, is important to have when you're packing so much stuff in such a short amount of time. Packing smarter for sure. My gosh, even after having traveled for years, I still don't know how to pack smarter. I'm the type of person who would anticipate stuff. So I always think about what if this happens? What if, the weather changes? Or what if this and that? I might as well have this, but it doesn't work that way. I've gotten better, but I still have room for improvement. A big room for improvement for sure. Budgeting tips. It's so hard to be on a budget when you're traveling, although we were on a budget, of course. Have limited resource. We don't have unlimited resource. So we, for example, when on the way to a smaller airport in France called Paris-Beauvais, Uber was really expensive. So we decided to take the local bus, a direct train route or a shuttle from one of the smaller cities in Paris to that airport. So we saved a lot. So a lot of these things you need to do some research beforehand because it'll save you a lot of agony from an expense perspective. Health and self-care. Ooh, yeah. So thankfully, I think after our trip to Mexico in August, I got COVID. And it's one of those weird COVID symptoms too, where I didn't have any respiratory symptoms, but I had high fever. So it was very concerning and I was put on a medication to limit the course of the illness, which was also very damaging to the liver. So it's just one of those things. It's part of the risk I think that we take when we're surrounded by so many people at the same time in such a confined space. And self-care. I think, I wanted to meditate more, to stop and smell the flowers more, but sometimes I've forgotten that. In one of the trips to the tourist sites in Auckland, New Zealand, which is a botanical garden, I did a vlog, a very short, reflective vlog of seizing the moment and really smelling the flowers, right? That was one of the only times that I can remember where I really had an opportunity to just pause and examine sort of what I'm feeling at that moment and the gratefulness that was overwhelming my heart at that time. And the last thing is key takeaways. So I think we just have to embrace imperfections, I guess, Every trip teaches something new. And like what I said earlier, you can never replicate an experience or a trip. It's either you expect the unexpected or embrace the unexpected, add more experiences to your vault, or you overthink things. And I used to be an overthinker, but not anymore, especially if you're in the realm of travel. If this is your passion, you gotta just expect sort of things that you would not otherwise think about. The main thing is to always keep yourself safe. We always kept ourselves safe. We always had situational awareness, as well as exercising kindness wherever we go and making sure that we understand the culture more to the best of our ability so that when we're there, we're not acting as if we don't care about a foreign culture. And so I think those are the things that I would just encourage everyone to think about when you travel. You're traveling, you have to have a good time, to spend the most amazing days of your lives, but at the same time, you're going to a foreign country, a different place where a different culture exists. And so we can never, ever underestimate that. And lastly, always be grateful. As we always say, the only thing that's guaranteed is now. So we need to be here now. We need to be present now. And we can only think about, and tomorrow will take care of itself. Easier said than done, but in reality, that is just how it is. But in closing, I'd like to just thank you for looking at our videos or watching our videos. You, as a viewer, you've been instrumental in making a difference in our lives, because regardless of the number of views that we get, whether it's 50 views, 100 views, 1,000 views, 10,000 views, you, the viewer, inspire us to look at what we do differently in a way that hopefully resonates with you and hopefully makes a difference in how you view things, how you view the world. I know that there are a lot of travel channels, but in our own little way, we're so proud and grateful and privileged to be able to share the world to you through the lens of our passions and motivations, through our experiences. So thank you. The viewership has increased significantly from when I started, of course, a little over 2 years ago. We now have close to, I think, 4,100 plus subscribers. So thank you. You mean everything to this channel. And without you, it will be hard to remain passionate. So sharing this with you is an absolute privilege and pleasure for us. So thank you. Peace and blessings to you. And if you want to watch more of our experiences, please check out these videos. And until the next episode.